Question and answer session. We are very, very grateful. We have His Holiness Radhanath-Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Vishrambar Madhav Maharaj, and His Holiness Chandramauli Swami Maharaj. So we shall start, and as and when others come, we will also ask questions to them, and we'll continue from the far end to the near end. So my first question is to Bhakti Vishrambar Madhav Maharaj. This is in Hindi, and I'll translate it. Dear Maharaj, how to accept the dust from the lotus feet of Vaishnavas? Should we very respectfully ask them for it? Or without their understanding, somehow we have to collect it? How?
They're not there. They're not there. We will get our revenge. वैष्णव पादरज को धूली क्या है? ये चारण का धूली थोड़ी है. ये शिक्षा अनुसार वैष्णव संघ वैष्णव का चारण धूली, मतलब वैष्णव का संघ शिक्षा अनुसार पालन करते. ये मतलब अगर किसी को आदमी का कमल चारण का स्पर्श करते, नाटक ड्रामा से, लेकिन शिक्षा का थोड़ी पालन नहीं करते, मतलब कृपा थोड़ी मिलते, कुछ नहीं मिलेगा. गौरकिशोर दास बाबाजी महाशय से जो त्रिपुरा राजा से प्रणाम करते हुए, ओ ठाकुर महाशय, अब कुछ बोलेगा हम करेगा. सच बात है, ठीक है, आप राजा का गाड़ी छोड़ो, यहाँ से नवद्वीप भेजो, अखंड भगवान का नाम ग्रहण करते. ऐसे फिर राजा को तरते ऐसे कुछ नहीं करते हैं त्रिपुरा राजा कर. समझ गया? क्या मतलब? वो वैष्णव को कृपा चाहिए. क्या मतलब? ऐसे अब शिक्षा अनुसार पालन करते, इवन फिर भी थोड़े से रश्मि एक किरण का शिक्षा अनुसार पालन करते जीवन पर, इतना तक कृपा मिल जाएगी. बस. But the question was in Hindi, na? I had to try. What can I do? I just told them that's all that, that the dust is basically only the instructions. If you don't, how much you follow the instruction, that much you get the dust. Now, should you steal it? Wait a minute, you can't do that. It's like Narottam Thakur Mahasai said that Vaishnavera uchista tabimora, what is it? Tabimora mananishta. Tabimora mananishta. Right. But Thakur Bhaktivinoda in his Kalyan Kalpataru section, I think it's Uchvas, it's either Uchvas section or this Partana Dainyamai or Partana Lalasmai section. He says there that Kripa Koro Vaishnava Thakur Sambana Janiya Bhajate Abhimana Ho Dur. O Vaishnava Thakur, please merciful to me, please teach me the nature of relationship by which my bodily conception of life will go far. Amita Vaishnava E Buddhi Hoile Tabi Abhimana Bhar. If I think that I'm a Vaishnava, if I have this conception that I'm a Vaishnava, then my bodily conception of life will rise. Pratishta Sayase, Hridaya Dushibe, Hoibe Narayagami. and the desire for fame will waken in my heart, and surely I'll go to hell. He says, Amita, he said, Nija Shasta Jani, Uttishtari Dani. If I consider that I am superior and I will give the remnants of my food, then surely I will go to hell. Tai Shisha Tava Takya Sarvada Nala Bi Pujakar. If I simply consider myself to be your servant, then I will not accept worship for anyone. Tomara Uchista Padajalarenu Sadanishkapate Baje. I worship your dust of your lotus feet and your remnants. I worship that constantly. Tomara Charane Nishkapate Baje. He said, Bhumite, Lunite Bhumite Dhuli. And I will roll in the ground in expectation of that. So it is not a joke, actually. About Uchista, I remember I was at a Ratha Yatra in Calcutta, and after all the Prabhupada disciples were finished eating, then the Bengali devotees who were serving prasadam, they jumped on Subhag Swami's plate after he'd finished. They put some more rice on it and dal and whatever it was, and they just jumped on it. I go, what are you doing? Are you his disciple? And Subhag Swami said, they know what they're doing. And then I was not satisfied. And I asked Bhakti Vidyapurna Maharaj, he said, all right, Maharaj, what's the Siddhanta here? What's the Pramanam? He said, if you have dependents, like a householder has wife, children, if you have dependents, or dependents means your disciples, then you can give. Otherwise, you're not allowed to give at Chista. If they're not your directly initiated disciples, you're not allowed to give. Well, if they're your Shiksha disciple, but it's not that they'll be your Shiksha disciple only at the time of stealing remnants. And they're not your Shiksha disciple when it comes to following your instructions. Therefore, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur only gave his remnants of his food to his directly initiated disciple, no one else. So, basically, after that conversation, I was told later on that Subhag Swami made it his policy, But anyway, it was a fun thing. It was a fun thing of understanding about Uchista, the remnants of a Vaishnava or the dust of the Vaishnava, what it really means. Hare Krishna. Huh? Acha, you heard Prabhupada with your own ears say the same thing? Can you speak in the mic? Let everybody hear that?
You can just repeat that.
I don't remember that. I never see that. Maharaj doesn't say that.
No, Bhakti Vishrambar Maharaj said, Srila Prabhupada said the same thing when he was asked that question. He said, only for direct disciples, no one else. So it's confirmed. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, as Maharaj said, and then Prabhupada also answered the question in the same way. So that's the answer.
Should we steal it? It depends on your sambandha. I think you have to have if you have a sambandha. In March, I think it was March of 1977, at the last Pandal program Prabhupada did in Bombay here, after his lecture, so many people rushed to touch his feet, and his senior disciples are trying to forbid them. And Prabhupada said, let them come, it's all right. And then he asked later on, why are they coming? Do you know why they're coming? Because I'm free from sex desire, he said. So there is a criteria of the person who will allow somebody to touch his feet. Because in Bengali culture especially, they always like to touch the feet of sadhus. They always want to transfer their problem on your head. Duty feet transfer. And like that. But we should not allow them. Just like one man in Bombay who was a black market wala, his face was really kala. And he wanted to give Prabhupada a check, some donation or something. And Prabhupada told he would not take it because hat se sparsha karte pap lagega. So Prabhupada said, tell them he can put it in the hundi. Because Bhagavan is a papa vidya. He can purify, even the sun can purify the urinal. So the black market money of somebody, then put it in the hundi. But Prabhupada said the hundi belongs to the deity. He told Guru Kripa, you cannot use the hundi for other things. The hundi belongs to the deity. But Krishna can purify everything. Put it in the hundi. Good policy. Should we steal it? If you have some banda, if the person is your prerita, is your object of your mercy, then I think you should not have an objection to that. But steal it. I'll tell you one story that I actually stole it. Okay? I was with, in 1975, 74 Ratha Yatra in San Francisco when I first got darshan of Prabhupada at the airport. We were all running like running after some movie star in the airport. Tulsi Das turned around and said, "Stop! Stop! Why are you guys running so crazy? Stop! You're in a public place." So we all jostled and shoved, and Prabhupada was surrounded by the sannyasis and other senior people. And he came out to the curb and he was waiting patiently for the car to come and take him away. And I was with my godbrother Sridhar Prabhu, who is in Sunshine Coast now in Australia. And he was right next to me and I said, "Hey, how did we get this?" "I don't know." And Prabhupada was right in front of us. And I thought, how did we get this? I don't know. So we offered obeisances at his feet. And I remember I reached forward with my index finger to touch the back of his shoe. And I was so scared that I would bring his attention to it, that I just touched it every so slightly and brought it back, like I was afraid, like I was so scared, We were very scared in those days. If you saw Prabhupada once a year, we thought made our whole year successful if you saw Prabhupada once in a year in those days, What to speak of touch his shoe. Or Pyari Mohan told a funny story in Bombay, hilarious, that after Prabhupada gave a lecture, he thought, I will stay outside of the lecture place and I'll pick up Prabhupada's shoes. And Prabhupada will come out and he will put his feet in the shoe. And I'll get the dust of his feet, and he'll put his feet in the shoe. And like that. So Pyari was dreaming, as he's anticipating, the nectar that will come to him. And he's dreaming and he's holding on to the shoe, And then all of a sudden somebody taps him on the shoulder. "Hey, what's the matter? What's up? What's up?" "Prabhupada is waiting for you." "What do you mean?" "He's waiting for you to put the shoe down so he can put his feet in it." "Huh? What?" And he put the shoe down. Prabhupada slipped on his feet and choop, he was gone. So Pyari goes, "Oh, I didn't get a chance to slip the shoe on his foot, He told me that story. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj. This is to His Holiness Radhanath-Swami Maharaj. We see in Srimad Bhagavatam, though devotees take role of king or ministers, still their relationships with others, devotees, are sensitive. But when we take some role, we either spoil relation by being too strict or lose gravity of rules if we are not strict. How to balance, Maharaj? Please guide. As managers, this seems very important.
So nicely. In the Bhagavatam, these great personalities were always conscious that I am the servant of the servant of the servant. Srila Prabhupada was in the highest position in relationship to all of his disciples. He was representing God. He was our founder Acharya. He lifted his disciples, many of them from decadent, sinful, non-religious life. Yet Srila Prabhupada revealed his own mind. He said, I see all of you as the representatives of my Guru Maharaj. Prabhupada didn't think himself to be the master of his disciples. He considered himself the servant
of his disciples. And he was serving them by accepting the role of their master. That is the spirit of a devotee in whatever position we have. Maharaj Yudhisthira, Rantidev, he was a king of the whole world. But yet he was fasting for everyone's spiritual advancement. Because what the king does, everyone got so much benefit because he is the leader. And you know the story, how he fasted for many days until he was on the verge of death. And then he had a big plate of prasad to share with his family, who was also fasting with him. And some Brahmin came and said, "Oh, Rantidev, king, I am very hungry. Please feed me." So he fed the Brahmin, who was full satisfaction. What was left? Just who came next was a Shudra, yes? Came and said, "Rantidev, I am very hungry, please feed me." He gave him all the rest. He fed his family and then gave all the rest of the food to this person. And then this person, who was by caste, not even within the caste system, he had a whole pack of dogs with him. He said, "Please feed my dogs. They are hungry." All he had was some water. Fed the dogs. And then a Chandala came. There was only a little water left, just enough to save his life. Now, you don't get any fame by giving some water to a Chandala. It's not that, everyone would be offering, what a great thing he has done. The Chandala said, "I'm starving for water. Do you have any water?" And Rantidev knew if he gave that water, he would die within minutes. And he was in ecstasy. He folded his palms and offered prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That I do not desire any other benediction. I don't want liberation. I don't want wealth. I don't want power. I don't want mystic powers. The only benediction I ask from you, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, that in every birth I may take, give me the opportunity to sacrifice my life for the welfare of others. In giving this water to this Chandala, which means in giving my life, I will never again have to suffer from hunger or thirst or moroseness, lamentation or birth or death. And then he gave that water. And just when he was about to give up his life, all of those personalities came before him in the form of demigods. We tested you because we wanted to show the whole world for all time to come. What is a Vaishnav? What is the spirit of a real king, a real leader? He felt himself to be the servant of every living being. Gopi Bhartur Padakamalayora Das 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 Anudas. From a spiritual perspective, we have no other position except the servant of the servant of the servant. As far as our roles within society and within the world, there is certain categorized hierarchy that has to be there. There's the guru, there's the disciple, there's the teacher, there's the student, there's the temple president, and there's everyone in the temple. There's the father and the mother and the children and the grandchildren. There's the boss and there's the employee. These roles have to be responsibly performed. But what makes it all spiritual? When we remember our constitutional position and keep that spirit in whatever role we're in, that we are the servant of the servant of the servant, which means we are servants of everyone. So you may be giving leadership as the humble servant of that person you are leading. If you maintain that spirit, you are Krishna conscious. As soon as you think, I am Prabhu, I am the master, you're fallen internally. So in whatever position, this is the key to success in bhakti.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj. This is to Chandramauli Swami Maharaj. When King Yayati asked for youth from his second son, he refused to give it on the basis of the statement, if it is necessary to satisfy senses in youth so that it should not disturb later stage of life. Will you please enlighten about this?
There were 4 sons. Yadu was the one that refused because he knew that ultimately Krishna would appear within his dynasty. And so he had a spiritual motivation for refusing. Puru was the one that he was the one that actually exchanged his youth for his father's old age, Yayati. And I forgot the names of the other 2, but this was one of them, the other 2, right? So they were banished because they disobeyed their father, who, as explained in the Vedic culture, is like a guru. Parents are also seen within the Vedic culture as superiors. One of the austerities of the body is to honor and respect superiors, and it says mother and father also within that category. So he committed an offense, and therefore him and along with his brother were banished. So ultimately his reasoning was faulty. But in no scriptures does it say, at least that I can understand, that the principle of sense enjoyment is a reason for refusing a superior. Of course, might look at it from the other side. His father, King Yayati, wanted it because of sense enjoyment, the exchange. But still, he was in a subordinate position and he had to follow the instructions of his father. And therefore he was considered, both of those sons that refused were, the word mutra and putra was used within that explanation where from the same organ a son comes. And one is like urine and the other one's a good son. So they were considered like urine. They were rejected within the family, within the society, and therefore they were banished. So their reasoning was faulty. Now the question is youth meant for sense gratification? It seems like that's the ultimate question. And based on that principle, should we satisfy our senses in youth so we can get fulfillment of that desire and then go on to, we say, renunciation? That seems to be the question, yes? Yeah?
Seems like that.
Seems like that's the question. Yehi samsparsaja boga dukkha yona yevate avanta vanta kuntaye nateshu ramate buddha. Scriptures explain that sense gratification is the source of suffering. So within the Vedic culture there is what is called marriage. And that allows for a certain, what we say, controlled form of sense gratification, or sense satisfaction, we might say, in order to, one, fulfill those desires in youth and then to, what we say, later on become renounced. But it seems like within that particular pastime, using that as the standard for the question, that they weren't thinking in that way. They were just saying that, we have to satisfy our senses. Therefore, we can't be renounced later on. So, I guess the conclusion of that, I'm not exactly clear exactly how that is understood within the context of family life and youth. We can take it from two sides, that ultimately sense gratification is not a valid, sense satisfaction is not a valid reason for refusing superiors. So I'll leave it at that, unless one of the other Maharajas would like to comment on that.
All right, thank you, Maharaj. Since there are no comments, we'll go to the next. This is to Bhakti Vishrambar Madhav Maharaj. When a person is not in Krishna consciousness, then by the influence of material energy, that person is put in miserable situation of life. Then that person takes to Krishna consciousness. When that person starts practicing devotional service, then Maya starts dragging that person back from devotional service by interfering with devotional service in the form of test. So what is actually the role of Maya? Because in both the conditions, the person is miserable due to Maya.
Thankless task. Durgachati iti Durga. You cannot cross over her very easily. She is like a fort. The Chandramauli, Umapati Swami told me there was a Chinese proverb that marriage is like a fort. Those who are on the outside want to get inside, and those who are inside want to get outside. Or the joke is there that when a newly married man is happy, we know why. When a 10-year married man is happy, we wonder why. So it's not a word, it's a sentence, a life sentence. You're in the slammer for 40 years. You better like your jailmate. These are all practical things, very practical. And these jokes were not made by brahmacharis, incidentally. They were made by householders. This is reality, reality TV. This is reality. The Maitunya Agara is described in the Bhagavatam. Pumsa striya maituni bhava metam tayor mito hridaya grantimahu ato kriya kshetra suta aptavitai janasya mohoyam aham mameti. The material energy poises this. This is the shackle, Maitunya Agara, the shackles of enjoyment. It is a test. Maya means mercy. So she's simply fulfilling your previous propensity. She's simply testing you to see what kind of Krishna consciousness you've got. It's like Prabhupada described it, that my duty, thankless task, is to try to allure us in so many ways to make sure that no nonsense will enter the spiritual world. That is her service, their thankless task, to make sure no nonsense will bother Krishna. As Srila Prabhupada said in 1971 in Sydney when he installed Gornatai, they're now at the farm there. And the same statement he made when he installed Radhakunja Bihari in Detroit in 1976. My dear Lord, I have asked you to come to the land of the Malechas, and I pray to you, please give them intelligence so that you may not be inconvenienced. So we always inconvenience Krishna in so many ways, although he's Dayalu Sagar, although he's the mercy of so much mercy, so kind, so compassionate, and he only wants just even a token of service. He expands it as if it's so great and so nice. And whatever defects a devotee has, that is very small after some time. Krishna minimizes. Gauranga is known as Bhakta Dosha Hanta. So another thing that came to mind in this connection is Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's last verse of Vrindadevi Astakam, that Bhakta Vihina Aparada Lakshai Kshipascha Kamari Taranga Madhyai, that if somebody is devoid of devotion and who by the force of their aparadas, their bad mentality, has slipped into the vices of lust and greed and anger, etc. This is the result. So if somebody is maintaining some sex attraction, it is probably due to his japa. Is that overly simplistic? You ask any householder that's about 50, 60. When they're young and they're 20, they may say that that's very simplistic. You can trace any problem a devotee has got to his japa. But you ask them when they're 60 years old. You ask them again. They say, probably you could trace it to their japa. Because if one is chanting Hare Krishna sincerely and serving sadhus sincerely, where is the question of material desire remaining in the heart? If you're actually sincerely serving. But if Prabhupada said advancement means that there's lust and greed go away from the heart. This is the test. Anybody can test what kind of advancement they're making when greediness and lustiness are going away. If that is still in the heart, then it must be your chanting. It must be your Seva Baba. Or what are you chanting? You're chanting Bhakti Nam. You're not chanting really Nam. You're chanting Bhakti Nam. So Maya will test us, but that test should make us very afraid. And if you run to her, Tulsi Rani, if you run to her, my dear mother, there's nobody will have me. No one will have me. Please. And if you associate with her, Sharanam Kripamai Ya Sharanam Prapanna. She gives mercy to those who take shelter of her feet. Sharanam Prapanna, like I said last night, Sunanda said 50% perspiration and 50% ashraya. If you're not prepared to do the perspiration, it's not a priority. We don't have time to serve her. We're so busy maxed out with our working hard day and night for a headache. I just don't have time to serve her. If you don't have time to serve her, you will never know who she is. You will always remain theoretical. Devotional service will always remain theoretical. But when you serve substantial Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis like her, a Nitya Leela Kinkari, an eternally liberated servant of the Lord, then it is a game-changing situation. Kripa Mahiya Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Namaste Charanarda Vindam. She can destroy your lust. She can destroy this greed. She can kick this out. In the obstacles in the path of devotional service, Satsuru Maharaj wrote Prabhupada a letter in the 1970s or 60s, late 60s, when he talked to Prabhupada saying, I have many obstacles. You follow my instruction, Prabhupada told Satsuru Maharaj, and I can kick out all those obstacles. So it is Sharanam Prapanna, taking shelter of the Vaishnavas and the process and Tulsi Rani like that, then these obstacles will go. And if the obstacles are still there, then Maya, we are embracing the obstacle. Oh, it's like we're like the analogy was giving that we're embracing the tree. Please let me go, but we're embracing the tree. You want the tree, you want the Maya. Oh Maya, please leave me alone, but it's very attractive. It's like very attractive. Delhi Khaladu, jo khaya wo pastaya, jo na khaya wo bhi pastaya. But that is, Umapati Swami told me in Mayapur, no, Prabhupada quoted that. That is about prostitution in Delhi. He told me, Prabhupada told me specifically that meant prostitution. That statement. So there is always this allurement in the material world because this is the last, one of the shackles which keep you in the material world. It's only meant for Krishna service. That it has to be used very, very restrictively. The whole idea of a sacrifice, like Chandramauli Maharaj was referring to, about, I was meditating on, when he was talking, I was meditating on the shloka from the Bhagavatam, that Mamisha Madhya Seva Nityastu Chantur Nahi Tattva Chodana. The Bhagavatam, the Vedic literatures may regulate meat eating and suragrahi and liquor drinking and vivaha, vyavista, illicit sex connection. He said by suragrahi, by sacrifice, by somarasa, by vivaha yagya, by marriage, and by sacrifice, Gomeda, Ashrameda, like that. Nahi tatra chodana, it is ishta, it is actually given to vairagya ishta, to give a sense of renunciation. Even if you have to do the religious act of having a child, etc., there is Prabhupada said it, I heard it in Atlanta, so much trouble. And my jaw dropped. It's like Prabhupada wanted to save us from so much trouble. Legal or illegal, so much trouble. So only the Vaishnavas, the service of the Vaishnavas saves anyone, male or female, from so much trouble. Mameva ye prapadyante, mayame tam tarantite. Krishna says it in Gita clearly. Who does that? Who does that, prapadyante? Who does it? Very rare. Therefore, Rupa Goswami Prabhupada says, Duskara tvara virale dve sakyatma nivedane kesam chideva dhiranam lebate sarananvita. Of the Navanga Bhakti, two processes of sakya and atma nivedana are very difficult. Who gives everything to Krishna? Krishna is not interested in what you put in front of him, your sakar mungfali, while you're eating palak paneer in the back. He wants what's behind your back, your kam, krodha, lobha, moha, and matsarya, what you're hiding, your skeletons in the closet. Give that. Then Krishna will be your friend. Who gives everything to Krishna? Very few. And therefore they only get. They don't get. And Maya is coming with her allurements, her neon allurements of sex agitation and so many agitation. This agitation has to be turned into love by the mercy of a Vaishnava. Even fall down, Prabhupada said in the severest ways, like in the 7th canto, chapter 15, verse 31, where Narada Muni was blasting about Vantasis. Prabhupada says it's very difficult to make advancement. In purport, Prabhupada says very difficult to make advancement unless they meet a pure devotee of Krishna. So only Shuddha Vaishnavas and pure devotional service can turn the kama, the hridaya granthi, the heart knot in the heart, into love for Krishna. That's the only way how lust can be destroyed. Otherwise, it is a condition to keep you in the material world. Hare Krishna.
Right. Thank you.